It's really interesting because we all want to be normal, but we all think that we are abnormal, and the things we think that make us abnormal are actually the things that make us normal, but many of them are not helpful. Now, if you didn't quite follow that, it's all going to make sense by the end of this talk. But what we're going to be looking at today is how important it is for our own growth, for our own development, for having a more rich, rewarding, full, and fulfilling life, how important it is to not be normal. And I'm going to talk to you about the things that actually make you normal, that you think make you abnormal, and why they're not helpful. A lot of things are going to make a lot of sense by the end of this talk, and I hope you blow your own mind with what you are going to learn today, and I think you will. If you're new here, welcome to our incredible little corner on the internet. Take a second, introduce yourself in the comment section below. If you are back again, say hello. It's always good to connect with all of you. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. The button's about right down there. You can get notifications when new videos come out. Either way, my name is Julia Christina, and I am a registered clinical therapist, a researcher, a coach, and the creator of my incredible membership community, the Shift Society, and a special shout out to my shifters who are here today. Always good to have you. I help heart-centered humans break through the crap that is holding them back, so that they can like themselves and their lives more every day. And if you want to learn more about the Shift Society, you can do so by looking at the link in the description below. Let's talk about not being normal and why this is so important for having better, feeling better, living better, loving better, thinking better. All of the better happens on the other side of normal. So speaking of the Shift Society, in the Shift Society, there's a masterclass series on self-compassion. And one of the key elements of self-compassion and learning how to be more kind and compassionate to ourselves is this aspect of common humanity. So many of us are struggling with shame because we think that the things that we've been through, the things that we feel, the things that we think, the beliefs that we have about ourselves, who we are, we think we are set apart from others, that there's something fundamentally wrong with us because of this or that or the other thing. But when we learn that every human being struggles with shame and these ideas of what sets them apart, we start to realize that we're not alone, and there's this really healing aspect that comes from this common humanity. This idea that I am not alone in my struggles, that these things that I think and feel and experience are just part of being human and don't make me less than in any way because they are part of the human experience. And there's something really powerful and healing in that. If you've ever done any work with self-compassion and this piece of common humanity, then you'll know how powerful that is. And so from this experience of common humanity and just hearing about other people's stories, and, as an aside, a lot of people in the Shift Society find this program, one of the things that make it so transformational is that they find that hearing other people's stories and the things that other people are struggling with, and seeing how similar they are to them, and these things that you're like, oh, there's something wrong with me, which is why I'm struggling with this, and I've got to keep it hidden, and I've got to keep it secret, and I've, can't let anyone know because then the gig would be up and they would know that, there's something fundamentally wrong with me as a human being and all that shame that comes from that. When we see other people having similar experiences and we're like, oh, I guess this isn't unique to me. I guess this doesn't necessarily mean that I'm the only one who experiences this. So therefore am somehow an inferior being in some way because there's other people going through similar things. And so there is that, that thing that happens in a group, in a safe, close-knit community where we have these shared experiences and feel so much less alone. And again, that is also very healing in and of itself. And so really looking at this aspect of common humanity and seeing how much we struggle with similar things. And so then back to my original point in that the things we think make us abnormal are actually the things that make us normal. The things that we think and feel, and often the things that we have been through, are very similar to most other people. There's so much overlap there. And so, we've often lived these lives of isolating ourselves and alienating ourselves because we think we're abnormal, but we're actually really normal. But I want to take it a step further. And I want to really just outline the specific things that we often think make us abnormal, that are actually very normal, but then how many of them are not helpful. So this is why, as I talked about at the beginning as well, we want to work on actually being abnormal, and we're going to talk about exactly what this looks like. So first I want to go through a list of things that are very normal, that most, if not all people do, at least to some extent. First one, believing that other people cause your thoughts and feelings. This is normal. Everyone just sort of thinks that if someone does something and I have an emotional reaction to it, it's because of the thing that they did that caused my emotional reaction. Everyone, well, mostly everyone, except for my shifters who are learning very, intensely how untrue this is. But most people think that's just sort of a normal thing to think. Another normal thing that most people think, or that most people do, is believe all of their thoughts. So you have a thought that pops into your head, I'm not good enough, I'm not competent enough, I'm not capable enough, this person is doing that intentionally to hurt me, blah, 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 whatever that is. And you just believe it. You just think that that is the truth because you had that thought. That is normal. Most, if not all people, believe their thoughts, regardless of whether or not they are true, accurate, or helpful. Another normal thing that most, if not all people do, is get stuck in self-doubt. You think that you're the only one who is sitting there thinking, I'm not good enough. I don't have what it takes. What if I fail? What will people think? I don't deserve this, right? You think that there's this secret kind of life of self-doubt that you have that nobody else has, that everybody else is going through life feeling comfortable and confident and sure and secure, and they're just killing it, and you're the only one who isn't. But that is not true. It is normal to have self-doubt. It is normal to get kind of stuck in fear. Hands up if you have ever had self-doubt. And I'm raising my hand very high because I've struggled with self-doubt so much, to the point where I actually got tired of all the self-doubt that I had, and I got annoyed with my own thoughts about it, my own sort of whining to myself about it, where I'm like, okay, something here has got to stop. And so really just started working on that. But it's normal to have, everyone has self-doubt. Everyone doubts themselves. Everyone thinks they're not good enough. That's normal. It's also normal to overthink and overstress to the point of paralysis. Most people do this, overthink and trying to play out every scenario and trying to, control everything so that they don't have to feel vulnerable, so they don't have to have an outcome that they don't want, so that they think that, if everything goes my way, then I'm going to be okay. Everyone does this. Everyone overthinks because they want to avoid being vulnerable. Everyone overstresses because they want to avoid an outcome that they don't want, because they don't want to have to deal with that feeling of vulnerability, that feeling, their own sort of self-criticism that comes up if things don't go their way, or their own mismanaged mind about taking things personally and, believing their thoughts if they don't get the result that they want. Their self-defeating, self-deprecating, self-shaming thoughts, they believe them. And so they don't want to have to deal with that. So overstressing, overthinking, that's normal. Another normal thing is worrying about what other people think. You think that you're the only person who sits around and replays conversations, anticipates going to events, stresses about what's going on in other people's brains about you. You think that you're the only one. What people are going to think if you do this, if you don't do this, if you say this, if you don't say this, if you look like this, if you don't look like this, whatever it is, if you achieve this or if you don't achieve this. Worrying about what other people are going to think about you, everyone does that. That is normal. Another thing that is normal is taking things personally. We all have these filters that if someone does or says something in our vicinity, even if it's not even necessarily directed towards us, someone has, like a kind of a frowning face when they look at us, or, they don't have a smile on their face when they look at us, and they're like, oh my gosh, why are they mad at me? What did I do? Why are they upset? And now maybe your brain doesn't interpret it to that level, but I'm going to guess that if someone says something to you or looks at you sideways or doesn't do what you think they should do, doesn't anticipate your needs the way you think they should anticipate your needs, that you take it personally. That's normal. Another thing that is normal is believing that you don't deserve to be happy. And that's that shame that comes up again, that belief that there's something fundamentally wrong with me, or I've been through too many things. I am damaged goods. I don't deserve to be happy. Other people deserve to be happy, but I don't deserve to be happy. That is normal. So many of us, if not all of us, struggle with the thought that I am not good enough to be happy, that that's for other people. But if everyone thinks that it's for other people, then that means that according to someone else, we are other people, and according to us, they are other people, which means everyone deserves to be happy. But thinking that we don't is normal. Another thing is believing you can't have the things that you want in life. How many times have you talked yourself out of a goal or a dream or something that's important to you because, again, you don't think that you're worthy of it, that you can have it, that you don't have what it takes, that you can't follow through on it, that you can't build it, that you can't grow it, that you can't keep up with it, that you can't keep focused on it, that you're not good enough for it, whatever that is. How many times have you stopped before starting or stopped after you started because you had the thought that I don't deserve to have the things that I want in my life, whether that's a career, whether that's a partner, whether that's a beautiful lakeside vacation somewhere that you have to, work hard to save up the money to be able to have, whether that's being able to feel more calm and grounded and confident in who you are and showing up unapologetically in your life, not thinking that you deserve to have that. Everyone thinks it. Everyone thinks they don't deserve that. That's normal. Another thing, a normal thing, is, and this is probably one of the most normal things that everyone thinks, is the belief that you have to become something or someone else before you can love yourself. Thinking that you have to become a better person before you can love and embrace who you are. That there's this prerequisite for your worthiness. You have to look like something, act like something, achieve something, accomplish something, be something, think something, feel something different than what you do right now. And then you'll feel good enough. And if you've ever been on this journey, if you have been on this journey of trying to achieve good enough, chances are, no matter what you have done so far, you have not achieved good enough, because good enough does not exist on the outside. Good enough only exists on the inside through our own thoughts and beliefs and practices of accepting ourselves regularly as good enough. Now that doesn't mean that we don't still want to learn and grow and heal and have different for our lives and have better for our lives, but not because that's somehow going to make you a better person. Probably because it's going to give you a more rich and rewarding and fulfilling life if you are learning and growing and expanding, but there is no destination. There's nowhere you get to where all of a sudden you feel good enough because you did something or achieved something or accomplished something or got something. And you know that it doesn't exist because you've tried. And if maybe you had this moment of reaching a goal or achieving something and you felt good for a second, but your human brain just went back to the way that it's always thought about you shortly after the high has worn off. But that is normal, to think that you need to be or become or have or do something in order to be good enough. Everyone thinks that. As you can see, living for a lot of us, living in capitalistic cultures that really push this idea that better and happiness exists somewhere else at a different destination, that you have to get something or do something or achieve something in order to arrive at. That's normal. Another thing that's normal is letting your current feelings dictate your decisions. Most, if not all, people don't do things that they don't feel like doing. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like, procrastination and avoidance are huge because people are like, I don't feel like doing it. I'm not motivated. I'm not excited to do it. So I'm not going to do it. If that's about finishing something that you've been putting off, if it's about choosing to eat healthier or move your body more or be more patient, be more connected, be more present in your life. Whatever that is, take an underwater basket weaving course and you've been putting it off because you don't feel like signing up for it at this moment, or practicing the guitar that you said that you would learn how to play by the end of the year. And you're like, I don't feel like picking up the guitar, so I'm not going to do it, even though this goal has been really important to you for a long time. That's normal. It's normal for people to avoid, to procrastinate, to push things off because they don't feel like it, but then end up feeling discouraged and disappointed and breaking trust with themselves in the process of not following through on the things you said you would do, the commitments that you made to yourself. But that is normal. Breaking promises to yourself, everyone does that. It's normal. Another thing that is normal is saying yes when you want to say no, because you fear what other people will think of you. Because you think that if you say no, someone is going to be upset with you, someone is going to be disappointed in you, someone's going to think that you are selfish, someone's expectations of you are not going to be met, and you don't want to feel that. And so you say yes when you mean no, or when you want to say no, and then end up feeling bitter, frustrated, resentful, taken advantage of, taken for granted, overworked, exhausted, because you didn't say no, because you didn't set that boundary. That is normal. I've been teaching boundaries for years. It is my boundaries course is one of my most popular courses. Once people start to understand and realize that so many of their struggles the root of their struggles is at a lack of healthy boundaries. And once they realize that, they're like, oh gosh, I've got to do something about this. And then they take my boundaries course, and their whole being and their whole kind of way of living and experiencing life and in their relationships is transformed once they learn how to have healthy boundaries and how important it is to have healthy boundaries. But it is normal to not have healthy boundaries. Most people do not have healthy boundaries. If you struggle with saying no, I have a free guide for you. It's called 25 Ways to Say No. You can get it. It's free. It's in the description below. And that's just going to be sort of that first step with that first kind of gateway to learning how to have healthy boundaries, is finding ways to say no that you feel more comfortable with, that are a little bit easier. And there's 25 scripts in there that will help you with that. But all of these things are normal. Everyone does them. And now here's the hard but important truth. Everything that you want is on the other side of normal. If you want a more rich, rewarding, fulfilling, joy-filled, present, connected life, you have to be willing to be abnormal. And it has to start right now. Because it's not normal to become in charge of your own mind and emotions. It's not normal to question the validity of your automatic negative or self-defeating thoughts. It's not normal to challenge your thoughts. It's not normal to believe in yourself and feel good about yourself and feel comfortable and confident in who you are now without waiting to become something or someone else. It's not normal to trust yourself. It's not normal to let other people have their opinions about you and value your own opinions about you more and not get caught up in stressing and obsessing about theirs. That's not normal. It's not normal to believe that you deserve to be happy and have the life and the things that you want in your life. It's not normal to fully accept yourself now. It's not normal to do the things that you may not feel like doing, but are actually in your best interest and are going to make you feel better later by fulfilling those commitments to yourself. It's not normal to fulfill your commitments to yourself. It's not normal to do things that make you uncomfortable because you know that on the other side of that is how you learn and grow and expand. It's normal to avoid things, to avoid anything that is new, that you might not know how it's going to turn out, so you avoid it. It's not normal to lean in, to trust that you can do hard things that are challenging, that you will be there to catch instead of kick yourself if you fall. That's not normal. It's not normal to set clear and healthy boundaries that both respect the other person and also respect you. It's not normal to learn how to take a step back and reflect on the requests that people have for you, what people expect of you, even sometimes what you're expecting of yourself. It's not normal to take a step back and actually say, is this going to be good for me? Or even, is this going to be good for the relationship if I say yes, but really want to say no, and then harbor all of this resentment? Is that honest? Is that authentic? Is that fair? It's not normal to be intentional with and considerate with having healthy boundaries in your life. That is not normal. So I want to invite you to not be normal, to realize that so many of the things that you think make you abnormal are actually making you normal, but they're really not all that helpful for your cause. If your cause is to want to have a better, richer, more rewarding, fulfilling, joy-filled, present, and connected life, to let yourself start today to be abnormal. We think that just because we have always thought a certain way, always done things a certain way, always treated ourselves a certain way, that, that's what we have to keep doing because that's what we think is normal. But that normal is learned, and you don't have to continue doing that. You can unlearn it and redo and create a new normal that is abnormal to what most people are doing. So now the question is, do you want to stay where you are and be normal? As much as you think that you are abnormal, you're not. You are very normal. But do you want to stay normal at the cost of everything that comes with it? Or do you want to step outside of that and learn to be abnormal? If you want help with this, come and join us in the Shift Society. This is what we do. We are learning how to shift outside, shift away from being normal and becoming abnormal and experiencing everything that exists on the other side of normal. The information about the Shift Society is in the description below. Also, you can grab that free 25 ways to say no, get you started on that. Would love to hear. What are you going to start working on today to become abnormal? Always good to have you here. And until next time, take good care.